I think why she admitted to the crime and she wasn't going to say anything is because she knew who it was and what it was. And she did stab the guy, but it really came down to, she's like, I have no way I can prove this is a conspiracy. Thank you. Let's do this. It's going to be a tough one to prove in court, but I think that's what we're aiming at. And that's what we're going to have to try to prove in court. So what do you think, Mr. Wright? And the prosecution is as confused as we are. After all, Lana. The victim was murdered in 2 different places at the same time. And a different suspect was arrested at each of the crime scenes. Lana. Good morning, Mr. Wright. Apologize for yesterday. I was indisposed. Hope they didn't hold you too long for questioning. We just finished, actually. I'm used to all-nighters, though. So, how did it go? This is Mr. Wright suspects the police are clueless. I figured as much, so I struck a plea bargain. A plea bargain? What do you mean by that? We agreed that if I told them the truth behind this simultaneous murder, they wouldn't seek capital punishment. That's what I mean, Emma. Alana, don't tell me you. Much to my regret. I'm as much in the dark about this as they are. Miss Sky. We found trace evidence of a certain person in the police department's evidence room. They belong to Officer Jake Marshall. What kind of trace evidence? Blood-stained fingerprints, to be exact. That's the trump card I have up my sleeve today. You do understand what this means, don't you? In order to defend my sister, you're going to accuse Mr. Marshall. We have to play the cards we're dealt. Isn't that right, Miss Sky? Do what you have to do, Mr. Wright. This would not be a fun seat to be in. This is why I'm not a lawyer. Court is now in session for the trial of Miss Lana Sky. Defense is ready, Your Honor. The prosecution is... I'm afraid you'll have to clarify. It takes 30 minutes by car to reach the police department from the prosecution's office. Yet the victim, Bruce Goodman, was slain at both places at the same time. But that's not physically possible. Is it? What's more, I hear the victim from the evidence room just disappeared. Yes, and the body eventually reappeared in the trunk of Mr. Edgeworth's car. Wow, this is one messed up trial. One of my duties as prosecutor is to present impartial evidence. Today I will present evidence relating to the murder at the police department. In so doing, I believe the way in which we should proceed will reveal itself. Now that's what sets Mr. Edgeworth apart. He sounds so on top of things, even though he doesn't know what's going on himself. That's supposed to be an admirable trait? Hey man, fake it till you make it, right? Very well, let the trial resume. On the day of the crime, what exactly transpired at the police department? Mr. Edgeworth, you may call your first witness of the day to the stand. For its first witness, prosecution calls the suspect of the murder that occurred at the police department. The suspect, you mean the so-called murderer? It was Edgeworth's cards. Things are getting wild from the get-go. Will the witness please state his name and occupation? Yeah, this is why I think they're after the prosecutions that got them all. They all kind of lost their jobs. Because, the main prosecutor lady that we're defending was accused of stabbing him, and Mr. Edgeworth, another prosecutor who was involved in that case, had the body dumped in his trunk of his car. So it got a thing. It's either just a massive coinky-dink or there's something fishy going on. Yes, sir, I am Officer Mike Meekin, sir. My occupation is, that would be murderer, sir. That's your occupation? So you're telling us you're a professional killer? Sir, it was me, sir. I'm the one who did it. I'll never kill anyone again, sir. You've got to believe me, sir. Actually, what we'd like to hear from you is, sir, I'm what you would call part of the younger generation, sir. A
person whose actions adults can't possibly comprehend.
Please, Mr. Edgeworth, sir, help me, sir.
Officer Meekins,
Yes, sir.
give us your report of the crime. Consider that an order. And I really have no idea why he's part of the whole process. He shouldn't be, but yeah.
Yes, sir, as you wish. After all, I am part of the generation that must be told what to do, sir.
You can't fault him for a lack of enthusiasm. Sure you can. Crime report.
Sir.
Although it's not my normal duty, I was assigned to guard the evidence room that day. I spotted a suspicious man on the security screen and rushed into the room. I was only doing what I was trained to do, sir. I was suddenly attacked. I fought for my life. Then I did it. After that, I passed out until another officer smacked me awake.
So the victim, Detective Goodman, attacked you.
Do unto others before they do unto you. That's the Meekins family motto, sir.
I see. Then you fainted and a colleague helped you regain consciousness.
Yes, sir. He knocked me upside the head, sir.
Very well. The defense may begin its cross-examination.
What I need here is more info to work with. Yeah, honestly, the scale of professionalism on here is just, it's very, very painful. That, honestly, there's so many things that they do in this game that it's like, what? Sworn duty was assigned to guard the evidence room that day. Okay, well, let's press on that. Mr. Meekins, you work in the General Affairs Department, do you not?
Yes, sir. I am in charge of hiring new recruits, sir.
Yikes, now there's a scary thought. Evidence transferal was taking place on the day of the crime, which meant many officers were given special tasks not ordinarily performed.
I was in charge of guarding the Blue Badger, sir.
The Blue Badger?
Yes, sir, the lovely police mascot created by the chief of detectives, sir.
Awesome.
I was to ensure it wasn't broken during the transferal process. That was my sole mission for the day, sir.
Wow.
I see. Sounds like a very, important mission.
After the awards ceremony finished that day, there were so many people running around that I relocated the Blue Badger to the evidence room.
Oh, so that's why you went to the evidence room.
Tell us, what did you see when you got there? Saw a suspicious man on the security screen, rushed into the room, press that. In order to enter the evidence room, you need an ID card, am I correct?
Precisely, sir. I have one right here around my neck.
So then, your ID number should be listed on here, right?
Here it is. I found it. This is the one right here.
Would you please read us the number?
Yes, sir. It's 4989596. That's my number, sir.
I see. Huh. The number 4989596 is shown as being used twice. Please explain, witness.
It's no real mystery, sir. The first time is when I relocated the Blue Badger to the evidence room, and the second time is when I went to go get him after everything settled down.
I see. So it was during that second time when...
Yes, sir. That's when I spotted the man on the security screen.
Hey, IDs of all who entered the evidence room. We got them all. Perfect. I was only doing what I was trained to do, sir. I was suddenly attacked. Press that. So you were attacked. Could you please tell us exactly what happened to you?
It was a knife, sir. A knife.
Detective Goodman pulled a knife on you? What happened then?
Well, with me charging in on him like that, he looked as surprised as I was.
You aren't exactly the kind of person someone would want to run into.
That's when I reacted, sir. I swung my arms like an octopus, struggling to detain him. That's how I got this gash on my hand.
Maybe if you just kept your cool, your hand wouldn't be.
When I saw the blood trickling down my arm, I panicked. I grabbed the man by his collar.
Fought for my life. Then I did it. Did. What exactly do you mean when you say you did it?
I know I don't look the type, but I'm really into kung fu films, sir. Yeah, no, you look exactly the type. The man let his guard down for just an instant, so I snatched his knife from him.
You took his knife.
I spun him around and performed a disarming maneuver.
I mean,
Sure, why not? I made sure to close my eyes like a man.
I
See.
He must have been desperate.
Next thing I knew, his white coat was drenched in a sea of my blood, and then the next thing I knew,
Yes?
he punched me right in my face, sir.
After that, I passed out until another officer smacked me awake. But what time did you regain consciousness?
No offense, sir, but how am I supposed to know that? I was unconscious.
Oh, right. According to the report from the officer that woke you up, the witness, it was about 5:30.
Hit me right in the head, too. I woke up crying tears of pain.
That's nice. It's nice that you recovered. That is.
When I came around, though, I made sure to finish my mission, sir.
Your mission.
Yes, sir, the Blue Badger, sir. I turned him to the entrance before things got out of hand.
Well, we can all rest easy now, knowing that the Blue Badger was put.
I believe we now have a fairly accurate picture of what happened.
Really? Do we? Yes, Your Honor. Only one thing remains unclear. Was the man this officer murdered really the victim? He's got a point.
Yes, Officer Meekins?
With regard to that, sir, take a look at this. Sent to my jail cell. Chief Gant delivered it to me just this morning, sir.
The chief delivered it.
What is this? Videotape?
Yes, sir, that's absolutely right, sir. Videotape, sir. It contains footage from the security camera in the evidence room.
What? But I specifically asked if there was such a tape. I was told it had been mistakenly erased.
That's quite a mistake.
I just do what I'm told, sir. It's the only thing I'm really good at.
Looks like communication with the police department is as good as ever. Or people are given the false information are trying to cover some stuff up, if you know what I'm saying.
Well then, let's have a look. Show us the video of you murdering the victim.
Oh, please stop using that word murder, sir. It scares me.
A video of real murder. Just what are we getting ourselves into? Here we go. So he's going over. Well, that's convenient. What a... Good thing he put that thing in there. Oh, look at him. Here he goes. This is the best security camera footage ever. I love that it has this nice, happy music.
Well, I believe we're all thinking the same thing. How can we deal with these unsettling feelings stirred within us?
What the hell was that wriggling piece of plywood?
Sir!
That's the pride and joy of the entire criminal affairs department, sir. It's the Blue Badger, sir.
Why am I not surprised this isn't going smoothly? Security videotape added to the court record.
Yes, well, anyway. This tape seems to prove that the witness did indeed encounter, someone in the evidence room, and some sort of, activity did take place.
Your Honor, instead of relying on clearly incomplete footage, the witness' testimony will suffice. Is that all right with you, Officer Meekins?
Yes, sir, as you wish, sir.
Okay, here we go, mystery man.
He's face can't be clearly seen in the video, but there's no question that the other person was Detective Goodman, sir. I mean, he opened the locker, which required Detective Goodman's fingerprints to do. Locker he opened is unquestionably Detective Goodman's locker, sir. So it must be him. No one else could have unlocked it.
I mean, he's got a point.
What's that about a fingerprint?
Each detective has been given a locker equipped with a fingerprint-activated lock. These locks ensure that each locker can only be opened by the detective it belongs to.
Intriguing. That would mean the victim at the crime scene would have to have been Detective Goodman. Very well. The defense may begin its cross-examination.
I don't know where this cross-examination will lead, but everything begins with contradictions. That's where I have to start. I wonder if I can look at that video again. This doesn't have the happy music playing this time. Well, I've got the proof I need from that video. That already proved right there that it's not Mr. Goodman in there. Excellent. Perfect. Okay, rewatching it did help me a lot. Face can't clearly see in the video, but there's no question that the other person was Detective Goodman, sir. I mean, he opened the locker which required Detective Goodman's fingerprint to do. Incorrect. Objection. Regarding the video contained on this tape, there is one thing in particular that seems rather strange.
Strange.
This contradiction leads to the possibility that the man may not have been Detective Goodman.
What? This video contains such a contradiction?
It does. Interesting, Your Honor. I have a proposal.
Yes, Mr. Edgeworth.
I propose we have the defense point out to us this alleged contradiction in the video. You would want me to point it out.
Very well. Proposal accepted. Let us further inspect this piece of evidence. I will now play the security tape. Mr. Wright, please show us this contradiction you speak of.
I have to point out a problem in the video. It's the first time I've ever had to do that. You can do it, Mr. Wright. It's set up so you can fast forward, rewind, or pause the video. Just take a good look and be sure to point out the right thing.
Please don't play it too many times. I can't stand watching this video.
How did this guy even become a police officer?
Now then, Mr. Wright, please enlighten us. Where is the contradiction that indicates this man may not be Detective Goodman?
Pause. Right there.
Bam!
Thing that's strange about this video has got to be this. Because the locker's not locked. That's when he opens the door and the glove falls out. It was propped open. That's why the light's on. Officer Meekins.
Sir, do you mean me, sir?
As I understand it, the locker apparatus works like this. When you grab the handle, a sensor reads your fingerprint. If it's a match, the light turns on and the lock is released.
According to my very limited experience, that's the way I understand it, sir.
If so, then something is seriously wrong with this picture. At least we got the happy music again. And we're watching this time, you'll actually see he's gonna pull, and a glove's gonna fall. He reaches for the handle to open the locker. Let's rewind to a little earlier. Here, notice the light?
What's this? It's already lit.
Precisely my point, Your Honor. The locker was already opened by the victim grabbed the handle. Before the victim grabbed the handle, I can read.
Order, order, what's the meaning of this?
It's very simple, Your Honor. The locker wasn't locked on the day of the crime. The locker locks are controlled by an electronic system. When a door is shut, a sensor is triggered, and the locker is automatically locked.
Oh, I know, it must have broken down. Of course, I'm not an expert in this.
That's not likely, Your Honor. The sensor would detect and report any malfunction.
Oh well, just goes to show novices should keep their mouths shut. So then, Mr. Wright, do you have an explanation?
I do. Me, Your Honor.
Yes, why wasn't the locker locked?
Me, Your Honor. Yes, well, you see, this isn't exactly my field. What do you think, Miss Scientific Investigator? Huh. Oh, maybe something like jam the system sensor? Something. Jam the sensor. Say. There's something else that seems out of place in this video. Yeah, I thought so too. There's got to be another clue somewhere in this footage. There is, the glove falling out.
Very well, let's inspect the video once more. The locker wasn't locked, Mr. Wright. Please point out the cause for this.
I want it right about there. A happy little music. Whoop. Nailed it. Please watch closely. This is a continuation of the part I showed you earlier. Do 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 do. That's just gonna get drilled in my head now. Bloop.
What's this? Something white fell out of the locker.
But sir, it's been my experience that things fall out when doors are open. I often fall out and roll great distances when I open my core door.
We can't be sure that item was completely inside the locker to begin with.
What do you mean?
The sensor triggers the lock when the door is shut. What if something was inserted, say, between the sensor and the door?
Inserted?
Man, we're gonna see this video a lot. Bloop. This white thing wasn't inside the locker. It was stuck between the door and the sensor.
Oh, I understand now, sir. It's just like my tie. 2 out of 3 times I get it stuck at the door when I get out of my patrol vehicle, sir. Instead of the door closing, my tie blocks it.
But that object would have to be extremely thin to fit in the door.
Not only that, it would also have to block electrical currents.
I would need to be an insulator.
Yes, an insulator. But at the crime scene,
there just might have been something that fits the description.
But sir, by insulator, you don't mean...
I think I finally got this figured out.
Very well. Will the defense please present the relevant evidence? What was this insulator that was stuck in the locker?
I still can't believe I gotta prove this. I mean, literally very obvious, I think, in the whole video that it was most definitely this glove. I found this near the locker, a thin rubber glove.
But we can't be sure that was in the victim's locker.
It has a tag that says SL9 incident. The video seems to depict the victim opening the locker. But that isn't the case. The lit lamp attests to this. On the day of the crime, even I could have opened that locker. Is that not so, Officer Meekins?
Sir, it would appear so.
Order, order! So are we to believe then that the victim, whom this witness stabbed in the evidence room, was not Detective Goodman?
Do not be misled, Your Honor.
What do you mean, Mr. Edgeworth?
The defense has merely demonstrated the possibility and nothing more. The victim in the video was indeed Bruce Goodman. The prosecution will offer one more testimony to prove this. What? Officer Meekins, please testify about this.
Sir, me, sir? I'm not sure what you're referring to, sir. Oh, you mean that, sir? Of course, sir.
Is this a joke? It feels like a joke.
Very well, begin your testimony.
Mystery man.
Do.
There's one other thing that proves the man was Detective Goodman, sir. To enter the evidence room, one must use their ID card. An ID card is used. There's a record of it. At the time of the crime, the detective had used his card.
An ID card record, I see.
I have the ID card record right here, Your Honor. Yep. The ID used at 5:14 is that of the victim.
Just before the crime. Yes, without a doubt, this is the victim's ID. However, one thing does not strike me as unusual. Several hundred cases should have been due for transferal. Why were there so few people using this room?
This particular evidence room is only used for storing certain special cases. Special cases? Extremely violent cases involving police staff. Just hearing that makes my hair stand on end. Me too, although it doesn't make much of a difference. There were only a few cases up for transferal there, and most were cleared up by noon.
Right, I see. Now let's move on to the cross-examination.
I don't know if I can really got much to cross-examine there. And then it proves the man must take good care. Enter the evidence room, one must use ID card. When the ID card is used, there's a record of it. Time of the crime, the detective had used his card. I guess okay, what do we have? Attorneys, Gibbons ID, trophy, knife, parking stub, badger, autopsy report, Gibbons note, muffler, start, white enamel shoe, fluid testing, ID card record, fingerprinting, screwdriver. Unless... Can I... Is that him reporting that his ID is lost because he couldn't fill it out because he didn't know what his ID card was? You know, we'll try it. It's kind of a reach here that... Because he had to have it, but he didn't finish filling it out, so... Hopefully. Got it, okay. Wait one moment, Officer Meekins.
I'm not good at waiting, sir.
I have the victim's ID card right here. I found it at the crime scene.
That makes sense.
When I say crime scene, I'm not referring to the evidence room at the police department. I mean the other crime scene. The underground parking lot at the prosecutor's office. Your Honor, I have one more piece of evidence to present. It's a very important clue regarding the victim's ID card.
Lost item report, it's only half completed.
But it shows that Detective Goodman had lost something on the day of the crime. Something important enough to fill out this report. Let me guess, you believe this something to be his lost ID card, right? I can't say for sure, but there is a high probability. On the day of the crime, Detective Goodman was not carrying his card.
Order, order.
So now, what does this all mean? It could only mean one thing. It doesn't even require much thought. The man Officer Meekins encountered in the evidence room was not Detective Goodman, but rather the man who stole his ID card.
Order, order. Does the prosecution have a response?
I have only one thing to say to the defense. Bravo, Mr. Wright. Bravo. Allow me to summarize the defense's argument. At 5:50 p.m. on the day of the crime, the man in the evidence room Officer Meekins encountered was not Detective Goodman. There are two grounds to support this. First, the locker in the evidence room was already unlocked. Second, the victim lost his ID card. Am I correct so far, Mr. Wright?
Yes.
What's he up to? That being the case, we must inevitably arrive at a single conclusion. If the victim in this video is a fake, then the murderer in the evidence room is also fake. In other words, the security camera does not show the instant of the murder. That is... Well, I guess that's right. Is something wrong, Mr. Wright? Only moments ago you seemed content to be pointing your fingers around. This isn't going to end well. Oh, jeez. Well, well, it seems you've finally realized exactly what you've been gone to such lengths to prove.
Explain yourself, Mr. Edgeworth.
The defense has already done the explaining for me. The victim in this video is a fake, which means a murder did not take place at the police department at 5:15 on the day of the crime.
So
the real crime could only take place at one location, the underground parking lot, at the prosecutor's office, the murderer being Miss Lana Skye, the defendant. The evidence is compelling. Trustworthy witness observed the moment the defendant used the murder weapon. Whoops! I just proved there wasn't a murder and got... Oh. Well, that backfired like a lot. Oops. I knew that testimony was way too shabby. It was all a trap from the beginning.
the activity in the evidence room still leaves many questions unanswered. Who exactly was the victim Officer Meekins encountered? And where did this person disappear to? However, this trailer's purpose is to examine only the murder of Detective Goodman.
Just so, Your Honor. Mr. Wright, you have to do something or else Lana... What do I do? How am I supposed to get myself out of this mess? Let's never wait and see what happens, so... we're gonna object. Because that's the only right choice, ever. One moment, Your Honor. What now, Mr. Wright? Don't tell me you're objecting to what you've just proven. Of course not. That would be just ridiculous, right? But I almost walked right into the prosecution's trap. What are you talking about? This cross-examination has proven one thing and one thing only. The security video did not show the actual murder. Does anyone answer where that guy went? The security camera didn't show the guy leaving, unless he crawled on the floor. However, it cannot be said that this is unrelated to the murder in the parking lot. Specifically, large amounts of blood traces were found in the evidence room. The defense demands further examination into the truth of the matter.
Mr. Edgeworth,
Yes, Your Honor.
if this court were to examine this further, other witnesses will be necessary. Is the prosecution prepared?
I'm sorry, Your Honor. The prosecution considered the incident at the police department to be unrelated. We have not prepared any other witnesses for this incident. This just might be my chance. Time to call a certain Texas Ranger to the stand. Mr. Wright, do you mean? Your Honor, the defense would like to request a specific witness.
Oh? Whom do you have in mind?
Someone we have reason to believe knows the truth behind the activities that took place in the evidence room. The prosecution requests to hear this person's name before deciding whether or not to comply.
Very well then, Mr. Wright. This person whom you would have testify, what is his or her name?
Jake Marshall. Officer Jake Marshall. Why him?
can't let Edgeworth know everything just yet. He's in charge of the evidence room. I feel we should hear what he has to say. The prosecution agrees to the defense's request. Since he was responsible for guarding the room, we should hear his testimony. Fortunately, he works in the police department. We shouldn't need longer than 20 minutes to prepare.
Very well. The court will take a 30-minute recess while the witness is subpoenaed. Will the prosecution please prepare the witness during this time?
We will, Your Honor.
Court is now in recess.
24th, 11:32 a.m. District Court. Defend lobby number 2. There's no stopping you, is there, Mr. Wright? Huh? What do you mean? You called for Jake Marshall. It seems you've figured everything out.
I haven't figured anything out.
Lana, you're the one who knows everything.
Emma.
You always know everything. Why don't you just tell us? Mr. Wright is trying his hardest to protect you.
I don't recall ever asking for his protection.
How can you be so cold? Don't you trust us? Don't you trust me?
Oh, I'm not interrupting anything, pals. Oh, yes I am. I'll come back later.
Wait, Detective Gumshoe, what is it?
Got a lot of nerve, pal, making a detective run all around while on duty. And top it off, you call me here. I've seen happier people at funerals.
Sorry, Detective.
You better be, pal. Hey. Hey. I didn't see you there, Chief Prosecutor's guy.
That's okay, so have you brought what I asked for?
Oh. You mean this, right?
My apologies, Detective. Due to my present circumstances, I was forced to use Mr. Wright's name when making my request. My name?
Never in a million years would I have thought it was you who asked me.
Could I bother you to bring me the SL9 incident foils?
I'll need them by noon. Talk about crazy.
The SL9 incident?
But Lana, that's...
Thought Mr. Wright might need them, so I had them brought here.
Here, you might do well to read them.
I can't believe you, the Chief Prosecutor, were a witness in that case.
Miss Skye was a witness? Well, that's starting to add stuff. Files for the Joe Drake killing solved 2 years ago.
Take it from me, you don't want anything to do with serial murderers. Oh, what? Now that I've brought you your stuff, you're just gonna ignore me?
Emma, but why? Why is your name in here?
What? My name's in there? I don't know, unless... No, it couldn't be. Lana, the SL9 incident, is that...
That's the classification number the police filed it under. 2 years ago, the rest of the world knew it as... the Joe Dark killings.
The Joe Dark? No, Lana. That's over with. No.
Emma, wait. She ran away.
You know what? I just remembered. I gotta be somewhere.
Okay.
Sorry, pal, but I'm out of here.
Jake Marshall, Angel Star, Demon Cat, Miles Edgeworth. Not to mention Lana and Emma. Everyone involved in this case is connected to those killings 2 years ago. This can't be just a coincidence. Knowing you just might be able to figure it out. Time to get back to the trial, Mr. Wright. Best of luck. I better take a good look at this file. To be continued.